Welcome, future masters. Now, what do we have here? Surely we have a devastating checkmate. Right there. Ha! Beat your time, freak. Well, I don't know how this is anything less than just a checkmate. Bam, bam, that's mating. Check, he goes to there, check. He goes deep into the hole. He takes rook. He's going to check and take my rook, that freak. So let's do this. Check him. King back. Oh, bishop takes. Just quite useful. Check. Goes to there. Check. Goes knight back. Bishop takes. Or, I don't know, let me think. We could play bishop takes first, but I don't think it's any good. Rook, queen d8, queen e1 check. Rook takes. Knight d2 check. Rook takes. Oh no, that's no good. And then king goes back, right? Blam, blam, check, bam, bam. Yeah, it's winning. Another 2,600 bites the dust, baby. Well, this guy is kind of in trouble. The secret move today is ding, ding, ding. Corral the knight. This is the domination position of bishop and knight. So now we can take this knight at will. Nothing you can do about it. What is the dealio? Oh, I see. Okay. Let's see here. Well, check. King to whatever. Take, take. Can't trade rooks. We're just not able to overpower the bishop. This pawn is a killer. So we're literally not able to trade rooks. That's step one. Now, so that meant, the check was obvious. So we trade rooks, his A pawn just waltzes. Our king can never stop it. So that explains the stage one. Now, how to mobilize the pawns is the correct question. I want to say, my gut reaction says, we need to stop rook c7. We could check him first, though. Check him like h3 check, king h2. We could check him and sack the pawn. are actually checking. King to, I'm thinking h3 check, king h2, king f3. Threatens basically a checkmate. So that's what I'm doing. This threatens checkmate with g3. g3, king takes, rook takes mate. There you go. So, stage one, you must realize you cannot trade rooks, you lose. So we play the only reasonable move, the most reasonable move is rook a1 check. I don't even have to calculate this. This is just pure logic. So, stage one complete. Stage two, we cannot allow rook c7 check. Look at it, it's a devastating move for us. So, this is where if you're not a strong player, you're not going to see that rook to c7 is his best defensive effort. And that just comes over experience. There's nothing I can do to really teach you about that specifically. But that is the correct defensive move for him because we will not be able to really queen our pawns if his rook gets in there. So then I realized I used what I call the brute force technique. g3 check, king takes pawn, and I could go rook to the corner. He just goes king to g2. Well, so I just cut that square off. So I used the brute force technique that shows us that his escape square would be king to g2. So then I used my other technique called the what if technique. Well, what if I go and stop that king g2? And you saw that it's an unstoppable checkmate. So the computer was programmed to sacrifice the rook. So here, this is the cutoff move that now it's unstoppable checkmate with g3, king here, and the rook in the corner. So he does this. This is, admission of defeat without resigning. It's known as the spite check. I despise you, and I spite check you. So that is how I solve this problem. So, wow, this is interesting. This is very similar. To me, this is similar because my brute force technique says rook f2 to b2 check, king c4, that is his escape square. b5 check, king takes c5, and la-di-da, see you later, chump. So we cannot allow him to hit c4 with his king. The only problem is he'll stop us from checking him on b1. So if I played b5, then we have a slight problemo. I'm trying to rectify this. And we can't mess around because he will play bishop takes c5, and it's looking really bad. So this is a toughie. b5, rook b1. The question is there a move for black that's substantially useful? That I don't know. Hui, can't attack his bishop. Or there's a possibility that rook fb2, king c4, rook b5 is the move because it's guarded. I don't know, man. Maybe rook b5 is coming. Maybe we should go rook a4 check and brute force him. King would take c5. Rook b5 check. Isn't that mate? It looks like mate to me, man. So one brute force technique of b5 fails, but brute force technique number 2 works. That's the brute force technique. I didn't know there was 2 different ones. Well, there you go. We both learned something on that one. Now, I mean, looking at it after that, you're like, man, that looks easy. So the best part was avoiding the mistake of discarding rook check simply because b5 failed. There's more than one way to skin a cat, as they say. So it was just like the things I said were true. He's going to play bishop takes c5. If we b5 check him, he's going to go king takes and just waltz away. So I hung in there because rook to b2 looked like a really necessary move, which of course it was. But we didn't know that at the time. It just looked like it was. So very useful. Let's look and see if there's anything else I can explain better. If I can explain this better, this was, but knight takes check, right? No, rook takes check. Oh yeah, I saw this. This is an easy checkmate. Yeah, the first thing I looked at originally was rook on 1 takes f7, and then I realized, well, his knight guards this, but my knight's guarding the square. More importantly, it was guarding the rook, but so I said, well, if I check him, he can't escape. I'd check him again, and he can't move, checkmate. So that's why I came up with this vertical column. This was not my natural first response. My first response was to get both rooks on the 7th rank, which would not have worked. All right. This was a killer. I mean, I could see instantly that knight to d2 check was going to be important. I mean, I couldn't do the standard queen check, bump and score. And then I tried all the different, ideas of knight checks. He can't take its mate. Knight check, he goes into g1. Queen checks. He plays rook takes. That's his move. He'd play either rook takes and then rook takes knight to here. No, I'm sorry. No, he wouldn't play rook takes. I queen check him. He'd play knight in there. I can't take the knight with the queen because the rook defends it. If I take the rook, he's going to clean my clock, eating my rook. So that was when I realized I needed to switch the order of killer moves and I tried, queen d8 check first, or sorry, queen e1 check first. That's when I realized he was destroyed because he loses the defensive move. His pieces are inconveniently placed. Because this is all the same stuff, except there's no rook guarding the knight on f1 when I check him. Therefore, checkmate. So, pretty fantastic. And this problem, yeah, I slipped on this one. Moved too quickly. This is the domination position. Notice how the bishop owns the squares of the knight. King goes here. And I thought there was no difference, but there's a difference because the king needs to go to b4. So the idea is that he's going to take the pawn and then attack the bishop, which I didn't pay attention to. So I need to go here because the king will take over these two domination squares, and then I'll just go back and dominate the other squares with the bishop. King to b4 isn't a necessary move, which I made a mistake. It's the only way the king can guard c4. I moved too quickly, not looking at it for analysis. Then bishop f5. Notice that we guard every square the knight can hit. But this is a domination position that you have to recognize. The bishop needs to go on d3 to dominate the knight. And the rest is gravy. But that one, I knew how to do it, but it's just one of those things. It's a slight mistake that costs you the win in a tournament game. So, oops. It's a mistake that happens. You saw me make it, and I'm highly experienced. So the important part is, maybe if you see me make that mistake and explain it, then you won't make that mistake if you get the opportunity. So, pretty tremendous. 4 out of 5, always a good score. Like the video, comment, let me know what you think about that stuff. Good stuff there. Subscribe if you haven't subscribed. I'll see you guys later. 16 minutes, 40 seconds.